Hello everyone, this is just a short video about a fellow named Dave Rubin. He used to work for the Young Turks, who's a progressive news network organization, and he left them in like 2016 or maybe earlier than that. And now he runs his own show called the Rubin Report, where he basically he sits on the fence and says nothing, while people on the right, almost exclusively tending towards the just totally exclusively come on his show and just say what they believe. And it's basically a megaphone for some pretty dark far right wing characters at this point. His show is, and I don't even, I'm not saying that out of some leftist ideology. I'm saying that because I really do think it's the truth. Because he has people like Stefan Molyneux on there, who is a white nationalist. I am not afraid to say he went to Poland and he went to a rally for Polish national pride, which was also attended by a bunch of white nationalist groups, and he cried out of the beauty of it. And I want to make it clear, I'm talking about Stefan Molyneux right now. I'm not talking about Dave Rubin. But and he's basically a race realist, which means he thinks race is like real, right? Like like race isn't just, oh, you have more melanin and you're from a different type of heritage, different nationality. He thinks no, it's the genetics affect everything, and your IQ and your worth as a societal citizen is completely hinged on your race. So yeah, there's a bunch of toxic ideas that get spread on the Rubin Report, and it's run by Dave Rubin, who is a guy who would consider himself a classical liberal. And what do these classical liberal types think? Well, this video is kind of a response to Dave Rubin's video from a while back called Why I Left the Left, where he makes this false, and Ben Shapiro and all these other intellectual dark web, we talked about what that means on the Abstract Thinking podcast, which you should all listen to. Go click on it beforehand. But I don't even know if that was the right direction. But basically, Dave Rubin and Ben Shapiro and all these other people on the right who, and I'll clarify my on the right statement later, they make this false distinction where they think that a liberal and a progressive / leftist, like those two terms that are interchangeable in this comparison, are different in the sense that the liberals are pro-free speech and pro-free expression and pro-First Amendment and pro-freedom and personal liberty and individualism, and maybe not going all the way far into the individualism, but like, personal freedom, liberty, and decency, man. And on the other hand, they say that the progressive / leftists are against the freedom of speech and against the First Amendment, and they want to take away and strip away your freedom of expression, man, and they want to stop you from speaking, man, and they want to take away everything you own, man. They just want to collectivize, man. They judge you on your group identity, man. It's all about the group identity for the progressives and the leftists, man. It's all. But I'm here to tell you that that's all bullshit, okay? That's not really the difference between a liberal and a progressive. And here's the other important part. A classical liberal, which is what Dave Rubin calls him, isn't even what he says a liberal is, even though that's what he thinks, okay? So we're working with three different categories of things here. We're working with the progressive leftists, we're working with the liberals, and then we're working with the classical liberals. All right, so keep all that in mind, okay? I'm going to really lay out what the actual comparison is and the actual difference between these three things are, all right? So basically you could view it on a scale almost like the way that I just laid it out with my hands, because I talk with my hands. The liberals are basically, what it means to be a liberal is kind of what it means to be center left in an American context, because Dave Rubin might not know this, but in a European context, liberal kind of means what libertarian means in an American context. Liberal kind of means you're on the side of personal liberty, and you're right wing economically. And let me tell you something. That's what a classical liberal is. All right? A classical liberal is right wing economically, and or right leaning at least economically. So pro capitalism, and they tend to be more lenient on the social issues and more tending towards what an American would call a libertarian, or like something that the Libertarian Party of the United States would produce. So what a liberal is kind of basically like you're socially more towards liberty as a value than tradition or social conformity or traditionalism or fundamentalism or authoritarianism, right? So liberal is basically like, if you take a political compass, liberal is like a little bit downwards and kind of like centrist. And that sort of area. Just below centrist, it's liberals. And it's so funny how these people like Dave Rubin say these things like, oh, the left is no longer liberal, because that's so laughable to like real leftists who say things like liberals get the bullet too on a daily basis, and they share memes like that, because these real leftists and these communists and these socialists fucking hate liberals because they're too centrist, because that's what it means to be liberal. Okay, so I think I did a good job of explaining what a classical liberal means and what a liberal means. They're two very different things, because the liberal's to the left of the classical liberal, okay? And I could even introduce a fourth variable into this if this doesn't get too confusing for all you fucking Rubinites in the I don't know, watching. Sorry, I fucking brain fart sometimes with my sentences, and I set myself up for nothing. But I could introduce a fourth variable, if that's not too hard, of neoliberals. And what a neoliberal is just a little more authoritarian than the classical liberal. The classical liberal would be more, for example, against war than the neoliberals would be. And the classical liberals' defense for their anti-war position would probably be, or their explanation for their anti-war position would probably be economical. So, like, I don't want to go to Syria. I want to pull out of Syria because of money interests. I don't want the government spending the money on the military. Okay? Or you know, the libertarian anti-war, isolationist sort of right-wing anti-war position, which is like, look, man, let the other countries sort out themselves, okay? Like, just let them do what they do, and we take care of our own. Okay, so that might be that position. But the neoliberals are like, nah, fam. And that neoliberals is another kind of centrist. Neoliberalism and centrism also go hand in hand, which is part of what leftists mean when they say, you know, liberals get the bullet too and things like that. The neoliberalism is really the dominant ideology in modern politics right now, and it's neoliberal is what Obama was, neoliberal is what Bill Clinton was, neoliberal is what Hillary Clinton is, neoliberal is, you know, the corporate Democrats really, and the corporate Republicans are neocons, neoconservatives, which is to the right of neoliberalism. But neoliberalism is understood internationally and worldwide as basically right-wing economics with the personal freedom involved. Except their right-wing economics is connected with corporatism, okay? Because they're okay with fighting wars and going to wars with foreign countries for corporate special money interests. They're all right with that. That fits right in with their ideology just fine. So the neoliberals are like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. So I just explained all of that. Now, what is the actual distinction, you might be asking? What is a real leftist / progressive? And I'm going to tell you right now. Leftists and progressives, newsflash, are not against fucking free speech, okay? It's not true. My main contention with this toxic reformation of ideological terms is that they're lying to you. They're lying. They're setting up straw men because it's easy to knock them down. Just as an excuse to be more right-wing. That's the whole point of all of this Dave Rubin bullshit, is to be more right-wing. And more small government. And more capitalism. Profit motives. Free choice. It's all a bunch of dumb shit, dude. It's dumb. It's right wing. Okay? So, a real leftist or progressive is, the difference between them and the liberals is they're to the left of the liberals. And I want you to know that when I say left and right, I mean economics. That's what I'm talking about, is left-wing or right-wing economics. So the leftist is more left-wing economically than the liberal is. That's the difference. And the progressive is more left-wing economically than the liberal is. That's the difference. That's the actual difference. The progressive and the leftist are not... It's not SJW, okay? It's not that. That's not what it is. They just... You'll find more often people who identify with these labels or who are, exteriorly, I don't even know if that's a word, but whatever. Other people judge them as progressives. They say things like white privilege and all these things, like all these ideas, like, that they're more likely to do that than a liberal is. I think. Or someone who's identified as a liberal would be. But these terms like intersectionality and things like that, they should not be understood in the way that the Dave Rubin types frame them. And that's why I think maybe I should make a series of videos on this channel about that specific issue. But I don't know, because these videos where I take one thing and break it down are going to be like weekly, I think. So that's my plan anyway. And they're not even going to be as long as the musing videos. So that's just a little channel note for all of you guys. But here's the point. When people like Dave Rubin sort of reframe the debate and reframe the sides to fit their ideology, they are lying to you. Because, even if you say what Nick said to me once, which when I pointed this out, because Nick made this false distinction in his most recent musings video. He made this false distinction between a liberal and a leftist or a progressive, and he said that, like, the leftist and the progressive won't talk to you, whereas the liberal will. Or like Ben Shapiro said, where he's like, oh, Dave Rubin's a liberal, he disagrees with me on the tax code, but we can still have a conversation. It's like, no, you can still have a conversation with a leftist and a progressive. You know why? Because I'm the fucking example of the leftist and the progressive who's pro-freedom of speech, pro-freedom of expression, pro-First Amendment, pro-fucking diversity of opinion, pro-debate, dude. I'm pro-debating. I love debating, all right? So don't go calling me a fucking liberal just because I'm pro-debating and I like the marketplace of ideas, okay? So fucking, yeah. That's the point. I hope I made my point, because these Dave Rubin types, man, when they do this shit, they try to make it look like the left won't talk to you. The left It's all a way of demonizing the left and the left wing of politics. It's all a way of making it look like right is right. And I'm here to tell you all that right is wrong. So feel free to like and subscribe and comment and tell me your thoughts, because I love debating. I'll see you guys, or you'll see me, in the next abstract thinking video. So I hope you enjoyed my little Dave Rubin spat, and see you next time.